So we know how to solve a quadratic equation in graph form, right? We know that when that parabola crosses that x-intercept, it's where the graph crosses the x-intercepts. Those are the solutions. And we could have 1, 2, 0. It's the same thing. We're going to learn a different method to solve quadratics, and that's by factoring. We factored a lot last year, and so this should be just a basic reminder of how to factor. So here are the steps to do it. You want to set the equation equal to 0. Basically, all you're doing is you're getting y by itself. That's all you're doing. And then you're changing that y to 0. Why do we change that y to 0? Because remember when we looked at that table of values, when y value was 0, that was the solution in the table form. When y was 0, that solution was at x value. So that's what we're doing here. And then we're going to factor. And then we put brackets around it and call it a day. So if we look over here, oh, it's already written. You're not erasing. You're not erasing. So let's go back to how we solve basic trinomials. This is a basic trinomial. So because your a value is 1, so we look at this number, -10. And we want to find two numbers that multiply together to give me -10, but when add up, give me this +3. So we go through the factors. 1 and 10, 2 and 5, and that's it. So it's got to be -10, so which one of these has to be negative to create that +3? This guy. So I have y equals x minus 2 and x plus 5. Actually, we set it equal to 0, so that's now a 0. So now we have x minus 2 and x plus 5. Now all we have to do is we have to set these two factors, I'm going to set equal to 0. I'm going to set x minus 2 equal to 0, and I'm going to set x plus 5 equal to 0, and I'm going to solve. I add 2 to both sides, get x equals 2. I subtract 5 to both sides, I get x equals -5. These are the solutions to this quadratic equation. After you factor it and you find the factors, you set both factors equal to 0 and you solve. Do not forget, you need to put brackets least to greatest. And voila, I have solved that quadratic equation by factoring. Okay, let's do some examples together. Let's jump down to, and these are all basic trinomials, so they're fairly easy. All right, let's do 3 and 6, just to refresh your memory. So over here, it's already set equal to 0 for me. Awesome. My magic number is -2. What two numbers multiply together to give me -2 and add together to give me a +1? That would be 2 and -1. Those are the only ones that can do that. So now my factors are x plus 2 and x minus 1. Now that I have my factor set, I set both factors equal to 0. X plus 2 is equal to 0. X minus 1 is equal to 0. So here I have x is -2 and x is +1. You subtract 2, you add 1. Voila, here are my answers. So that means my parabola would cross my x-axis at -2 and +1. Do not forget to put it in bracket form. More than one solution, got to have a bracket. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 6. My magic number is -20. It's already set equal to 0, so I don't need to change anything. So my magic number is -20. Two numbers that multiply together to give me -20, but when combined give me a -1 are -5 and 4. So I have x minus 5, x plus 4, and I set that equal to 0. Those are my factors set equal to 0. Now I set my factors equal to 0. X minus 5 equals 0. X plus 4 equals 0. And I solve it. I add 5 to both sides to get 5. I subtract 4 to both sides to get -4. And then I put it in bracket form, least to greatest. -4 to 5. So that is a refresher on factoring, but we solved quadratics. So let's take a look at what happens when it's not given in standard form. Well, man, this is kind of slow. When it is not set in standard form, oh, you know what? Let's go up here to 13. So remember, on number 13, there was an easy way. Oh, well, no, you know how to do that. It's, sorry, kind of all over the place. There's two ways you can do this one. You can look at negative 64 as my magic number, and what two numbers multiply together to give me negative 64, but add together to cancel out? That's going to be negative 8 and 8, right? So x minus 8, x plus 8 equal to 0, and then we solve, okay, and set equal in bracket form. You can do one of two ways here. 4 doesn't go into 81, but watch what you can do. You can add 81. No, this is a difference of square. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm refreshing my memory. This is a difference of square. So it is, fits the form. I can take the square root of the first term. I can take the square root of the second term. So I get 2x minus 9, 2x plus 9, set equal to 0. And then I set my factors equal to 0. So 2x minus 9 equals 0. Here I have to add 9 on both sides. I get 2x equals 9. Divide by 2, and x equals 9 halves. Yes, you can get fractions. Here, I have 2x plus 9 equals 0. I subtract 9. 2x minus 9 equals 0. 2x minus 9. No, 2 equals negative 9. I'm going too fast for my own good. I divide by 2, and x equals negative 9 over 2. Don't forget to put in brackets, negative 9 over 2, and positive 9 over 2. Let's do that one again. So you can recognize that it's a difference of square. Why is it a difference of square? Because you can take the square root of the first term, you can take the square root of the second term, and that guy's negative. Remember, if it's a positive, that's a no-go. You can't factor it. So in this case, I have 3x minus 7, 3x plus 7, and then I would set these equal to 0 and solve for x, and then put in bracket form. So just a quick refresher on how to do difference of square, because I totally forgot that one. Now, what happens when your equation is not in standard form? Well, easy. You put it in standard form. That's it. So if you look at number 18, it's not in standard form. We want to get quadratic term, linear term, constant term. So I'm going to subtract 4x on both sides. And I get x squared minus 4x minus 45 equals 0. And then I solve. So negative 45, those two numbers are negative 9 and positive 5. So I get x minus 9, x plus 5. When I set them equal to 0, I'm going to get x equals 9 and x equals negative 5. Don't forget to put in bracket form. Okay? Look at number 20 real quick. Subtract 4x. Subtract 1. That becomes 0, and I get x squared minus 14x plus 48. And then you would factor same way we did. Down here, you subtract 9. I get 16x squared minus 9 equals 0. Recognize it's a difference of square, and you can keep going. So you would get 4x minus 3, 4x plus 3, and then your final answers would be 3/4 and negative 3/4 once you set them equal to 0. Okay? So if you have questions, come and see me.